greetings. Iain from RTO here, and welcome to a rather dark and gloomy day. It is dark and it's raining. We're having rumbles of thunder here and there. It's muggy. It's a different day. So today we might have some sound effects because I've had to keep the windows open. It's so stuffy in here. So this could be fun. Bit of thunder and lightning thrown in. Okay, today is part 4 of the David Crosby story, and today we're going to look at the albums that he did just with Graham Nash. I can't understand how they fitted in all these albums with all the other stuff that David was doing, and he managed to do a duo albums with Graham Nash. Over the years they recorded 4. They're good. It's one thing about anything that David Crosby's involved with and Graham Nash, you know what you're getting, and I think they're really good albums. There isn't a really bad album again. I don't think there's any really bad albums. Doesn't matter who was in the band or who was playing, they're all the same. So we got 4 today. So coming in at number 4 is the 4th and final studio album, and it was a double album just called Crosby and Nash. People that played on here are James Raymond and Jeff Pevar, who actually are from Crosby's other project, CPR, which we'll be talking about next week. Session musicians Leland Sakar on the bass, who's known for his work with Phil Collins, is the guy with a big bushy beard in there, pretty good. So that's who's in the band, and this came out in 2004, and it was their first studio album together as a duo for 28 years. So there we go. What's going on this? Busy people. So, first track on here is called Lay Me Down. A great little track. Great harmonies here between Graham and David. And I'm going to say this, I think Graham and David's harmonies together were wonderful. It's a really good track. Then we get Puppeteer. This one's okay. Good vocal again. It's a very pleasant song. Just nice to put on and listen to. It really is. It's quite gentle. It's very relaxing. Through here quite often. Lovely melody. David Crosby wrote some great stuff, and this is one of them. Really good. Then we get this little thing called Grace, which is by James Raymond, who we'll learn about more next week. It's just him on the piano, and it's very nice. Then we get Jesus of Rio. Again, it's just a very pleasant track written by Graham and Jeff Pevar. Really nice tune. I Surrender, pleasant enough. It's not outstanding, but it's enjoyable. Luck Dragon comes next. One of the rockier ones on here, and it's got some nice country rock sound to it. Good guitar work on this one, and a great vocal from David. On the Other Side of Town. Now this has got the bit of country music I don't like, that whiny guitar. It sounds like someone whinging. I'm not very keen on that track. Half Your Angels, the singing's good, but I think the composition's a little bit flat for me. They Want It All. We've got some great guitar work. The keyboards are really good in this. This is James Raymond, who's David's son. It's a really good track, and you got David and Graham doing all the vocals. Pretty good track. How Does It Shine? Some nice gentle guitars on this. I do like this track a lot. Then we move on to the second disc. Don't Dig Here. Love this. It's my favourite track on the whole album. It's Graham Nash doing the lead vocals, and we got some lovely backing vocal from David. The contrast in the styles on this one is really good, but it works well. Then we got Milky Way Tonight, a good track, some great guitar on it, and I love the keyboards on this as well. It's a terrific track. Charlie, the arrangement is good, the drums sound fine. Just another solid track, does what it says on the tin. Penguin in Palm Tree, I really don't like this. It's that real country wine again, it doesn't do this. Then we have Michael, which is a tribute to Michael Hedges, who was a friend and guitarist who died in 1977. So this is their tribute to one of their friends. It's a really nice song. You know, nice tribute, some lovely words, nice song. Then we get Samurai. This is a little bit of harmonising thing. It's very short, but it sounds really good. Shining in Your Dreams, nice gentle track. Some lovely guitar tones on this. Really is a good track. Live on the Wall. It's alright. My Country, 'Tis of Thee. Now this is a traditional American patriotic song. It's been used all sorts of things. The song serves as one of the de facto national anthems of the United States, along with the Hail Columbia before the adoption of the Star Spangled Banner in 1931. And the melody is the same used in our national anthem, God Save the King. Well, there we are. It's all right. I'd say it wouldn't be the best thing on the album, but it's there. And that was the last track. I think this is a good album, although it's coming in at number 4. It's got some nice gentle songs, some rock. That's what I like about this. It's all mixtures, and it's an enjoyable album. I think the second disc is the better of the two discs, in my opinion. But I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 6 out of 10. Okay, then coming in at number 3, this is from 1976, and it is Whistling Down the Wire. So joining Mr. Crosby and Mr. Nash on here, we have Craig Durridge on acoustic guitar and electric piano, electric piano, organ and glass harmonica. David Lindley on guitar, slide guitar, pedal steel, violin and viola. Danny Korchmar on the electric guitar and caborro. We've got Laura Allen on a zither, Tim Drummond on a bass guitar, and Russell Kunkel on drums. String arrangements were done by Lee Holdridge, and the orchestral leader was Sid Sharp. So first track on this is Spotlight. I've always liked this track. Great guitars, great vocal from Graham, solid track to start the album. Broken Word, lovely song this is. David Crosby and Graham Nash at their best. It's a delightful song. Time After Time, it's very gentle, but it does need a little bit more behind it, to be quite honest. It sort of it's not flat, but it just, you think, what else could really make this song good? Then we get a little instrumental called Dancer. It's a little bit disjointed. It sort of fades in and fades out, but there's a nice tune there. Then we get Mutiny. It's a gentle track, some strong vocals. It's a really nice song. JB Blues. Great guitar work in this. Always like this song as well. Really good. Then we get Margarita. Lots of There's lots of violin in here, and it really adds to the track. It gives it that little extra depth and that little oomph. It's a great song by Graham Nash. Taking that all, lovely harmonising on this between David and Graham. Probably one of the nicest harmonising vocals they've done on their duo albums. And they got a little bit of harmonica thrown in there as well. And then we get my favourite track off this one. It's called Foolish Man. Some great guitar in this. You know, David Crosby, fine guitarist, and I love the vocals in that as well. Then the last track is called Out of Darkness. It's a nice track to end the album. It was very solid. A pretty good album. Got some really cut tracks on here. It's a nice gentle album again. It's one of those put on at the end of the day or first thing in the morning. I really enjoy this album, and I do play it a lot. So I'm going to give this one an RTO ranking of 7 out of 10. So coming in at number 2 is the second album. Now this came out in 1975, and this is called Wind on the Water. So join, and on here there's so many people to mention, but there's quite a lot of people on this one. So the first track is Carry Me. Great track to open up with. The harmonies are there, that lovely tones of Nash and Crosby. Just a really good track. Mama Lion. There's just got a very soulful guitar sound on here. Graham does the lead vocals. It's a quirky song. Graham Nash is renowned for writing these quirky songs, and that is a fine example of a quirky song from Graham. Bittersweet. Typical David Crosby track. That's wonderful, lovely harmonies on this one as well. Take the Money and Run. That quirky guitar sound. A great vocal from Graham. Naked in the Rain is a brilliant track. It's gentle, it flows. The harmonies again, absolutely fantastic on that one. Love Workout, my favourite track on the album, probably one of my favourite tracks as these two as a duo. It's a great little rocker, it's a solid track. Low Down Payment is the next track, very 1970s sounding track with a lovely piece of saxophone on it, solid track. Cowboy of Dreams. Solid track. Again, it's not one of the outstanding tracks on the album, but it's still a good track. Homeward Through the Haze. Got some lovely electric piano on here, an ordinary piano, electric guitars are good, the vocal is good, it's just an all-round song. Field Worker, I love the guitar at the beginning of this track, and it has got a fantastic guitar solo in it as well. Then we get to the Last Whale. It's okay. It's probably the weakest track on the album. It's a little bit non-coherent in places. It's a little bit bitty, as I say. So on the whole, another very good album. There's a couple of tracks on here that I'm not too keen on, but it's still an album that I do tend to play a lot, and I'll give this an RTO ranking of 7.3. So my number 1 is their first album as a duo. It was released in 1972, and it's called, it is just called Graham Nash, David Crosby. And joining them on here, we got Mr. Jerry Garcia on pedal steel guitar, Dave Mason on electric guitar, Craig Durridge on the electric piano. Who else is on here? Leland Skeller on the bass. First track is just an absolute classic from Graham Nash, Southbound Train. It's the harmonica really is fantastic on here. Just love this. Then we get Whole Cloth, my favourite track by Graham and David. It's got a bluesy feel to it with some great guitar work. It's just a great vocal from David as well. Terrific song. And then we get this little thing called Black Notes. It's just under a minute. It's a very short piano piece with a lovely little vocal from Mr. Nash. Stranger's Room, another great track. I love how this starts gentle and builds up. You've got this great vocal from Graham. It's very poppy, sort of, for the time. You know, Graham launched some great pop songs when he was with the Hollies, and this is in that same vein. It's a really good song. Where Will I Be, a David Crosby song. Beautiful harmonies on here and a crisp guitar sound as well. Page 43, love the start of this. Again, and it's got a fantastic guitar solo and a lovely drum beat in this. It really is a strong song. Frozen Smiles. This reminds me of some style of David Gates and Bread. From David Gates' first album. It reminds me of the soap song, as I call it. It's really good. Games. Second favourite track on this album. The gentle drums and the lovely piano. It's just perfect. Perfect song to play at night. Girl to Be On My Mind, another blues sounding track. And it sounds like it's a gospel church in the Midwest in the 50s. It's got that feel to it. It's got a good vibe. The Wool Song. The drumming again is good. It's a great thing. The cymbals really add this, and David's vocals are really good. Imagination Man comes next. It's the last track. It sounds very David Gates Bread. That sound, which is really nice. Bit of the Eagles thrown in there as well. It's got them influences. That's a great vocal from Graham and a great song. As I said, definitely the best album as a duo. I think it's got some of the best singing these two did. Great guitar on this as well. It's a really strong songs, and I enjoy it. I enjoy them all, but this one I do really enjoy. So I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 7.5. So, as I said, that's next week. We're going to look at his other side track. It's amazing. His other project that he did with people that has played on these albums, and that's CPR, which is David Crosby, James Raymond, and Jeff Peavar. James Raymond is David Crosby's son. So that's next week. Coming up very shortly is Retro Ranking, and we're going to do some film music, and we're going to look at my favourite songs by composer Ennio Morricone. So we're going to have a lot of, it's a bit cowboy, I'm afraid, because that's what he was known for. There's some great theme tunes from cowboy films, especially the spaghetti westerns. So I'm looking forward to that, and I know that someone else is looking forward to it. One of my collaborators, Naomi from Israel, 365 Days of Prague, and she did mention when I put it up on the community, looking forward to a bit of Ennio Morricone, and why not? Okay, I'll be back later, so bye for now. Hopefully it'll brighten up a little bit, but I don't hold my hopes up very much. Bye for now.